It's time for this week's edition of the Recruiting Roundup, powered by Rockin' Refuel. That's Jason Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. We bring the latest in Arizona high school football recruiting year-round. Week 1 in the books. It was a great one, but recruiting news, as always, at the forefront. Jason, Cameron Johnson out at Saguaro picks up his latest offer.
Yeah, it was offered by Nevada. This is 6th offer now for Cameron. His most recent before that was Wisconsin. Also has Montana, South Dakota State, handful of other offers. He's a guy that could play on either side of the football. He has an offer as a running back. He has offers as a safety. I personally think he's a safety at the next level because he's about 5'11", 200-pound stick kid that's willing to get in there, stick his nose in there, and make those tackles.
So that's Cameron. Got off to a great start as Saguaro beat Chaparral handedly last week. Now let's get into the performances last week. Our player of the week on the defensive side of the ball also made plays on offense over at Barry Goldwater.
Yeah, their tight end, defensive end, Danny Reyes, had a huge game. He had 12 tackles on defense from his defensive end spot to go along with 3 sacks. And then on offense, as his tight end, he had 126 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns in their win over Shadow Mountain.
Now, every week, we like to do breakout prospects. As mentioned last week, Jason and I are out at games every weekend, and we like to find players that we like to bring to you and spotlight that really are under the radar or really relatively unknown. I'm going to start this time around. Tristan Decker. Now, this is a player that is a little bit known. We talked about him on the Daily Dozen, but I caught him out last week when Sunrise Mountain defeated Ironwood in what was a very exciting game. Tristan Decker is a safety, and Decker is a great name for him because he really decks his opponents. He comes downhill and hits extremely hard. He's got a great knack for the football, great presence on the field. He's also on the offensive side of the ball as a wide receiver. I really like this kid. He's a guy that could make an impact at the next level if he continues to look the way he did last week.
I was at Chandler and Centennial. I also was at a great football game, but a guy that I really liked is Boston Sanders, middle linebacker at Centennial. He's only a junior, but was named a team captain for the Coyotes. He's 6 foot, 240. He's a throwback football player, old school. He also played some tight end and had a touchdown reception against Chandler.
Now it's the point of the show where we like to look ahead to next week, week 2. Now, there's a great game that's going to be going on between 2 very promising teams that look to make a big impact this season. Westview going up against Boulder Creek. On Westview, it's about their offense. They're coming off a great win last week against Westview from California. Jalen Johnson, their running back, had 3 touchdowns last week. This is a guy that touches the ball very often for the run-heavy Westview Knights. They're going up against Boulder Creek. I spotlighted their safeties a couple weeks ago. Blake Labno and Ryan Parenzo, 2 very talented, if not the most talented safety duo in the state. Very, very hard-hitting, aggressive players, and they make big plays for the Jaguars on the defensive side of the ball. That's Westview's Jalen Johnson against the safeties from Boulder Creek. That's what I'm watching in week 2.
Kind of a sleeper game that I think is going to be better than most people think is Prescott at Desert Edge. Now, Prescott had a big win last week against Blue Ridge, blew them out. Now, Desert Edge looking for a win. They got beat pretty handily by Liberty. So you look at the players of spotlight in that game. Elijah Smith, a tight end at Prescott, big kid, 6'4", 220 pounds. And probably their best all-around player is Skylar Clinton. Does a little bit of everything. He had 312 all-purpose yards to go along with 4 touchdowns. Now, Desert Edge, their sophomore running back, Rashawn Johnson, is the man. They need to start feeding him the ball, and they're still trying to break in their sophomore quarterback, Teron Thomas, who had a great game against South Mountain, but last week not so hot against Liberty. So we're expecting a better performance out of Thomas.
That's Jason Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. This has been the Recruiting Roundup powered by Rockin' Refuel on Sports360AZ.com.